Artificial intelligence is improving user experiences across the spectrum. From IT teams to consumers, the ability of our networks to access large amounts of data, quickly analyze it, and make decisions is changing the way we work and live. I'm Rick Rudder from Juniper. I've assembled a couple of my colleagues to help me in a discussion around AI and how it's improving our world and delivering positive change. Gentlemen, thanks for coming. If you could quickly introduce yourselves.
Yeah, Rick, Bob Friday, CTO of Juniper's Enterprise Business.
And thank you, Rick. Sudheer Matta, VP of Products here at the Juniper's AI-driven enterprise.
Right on. Well, to kick things off, what are some of the challenges that companies are facing today, and how do you think AIOps can help?
One of the things that's happening in customers around the world, big and small, is more users, more devices, more applications, more bandwidth every single day, right? But the scale of the IT team isn't growing at the size of the exponential growth we're seeing in these other vectors. So how does the same size IT team deal with more and more and more and more of this? You can't throw people at the problem. It is time for AI to bring that cost of operations down so the same size IT team can handle more of the scope on the same network, right? That's the power of AI.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and for me personally, I think we talked about, when I was at Cisco, it was clear what I heard from these customers was, hey, they were tired of controllers crashing. They were tired waiting for a year to actually get new code, and they really wanted to know visibility. It wasn't good enough to know whether or not the AP was up and running. They wanted to know if the user was having a great experience. And so that was really, for me, what I saw the need for Mist and really this cloud AI architecture.
That makes sense. I mean, so let's dive into the virtual assistant, because I think that's amazing. Why, help me understand a little bit, why a virtual assistant and how it can really help my business.
You want to start?
Yeah, so one of the things that we talked about at the very beginning, right? Why do we need AI? There's more users, more data, more applications, more trouble tickets every day. Mm-hmm. The fundamental, simplest reason for a virtual assistant is we want problem solving to be pushed down to the lowest tier level, tier 1. When a call comes in a university, and on the other side is a zoology major taking a trouble ticket in the help desk, they could just ask Marvis, hey, what's wrong with this user's experience, right? And Marvis comes back with a curated answer, with a factual, actual answer, right? Mm-hmm. And so pushing the amount of the knowledge graph needed to solve these problems, we went from CCIEs and JNCIEs to level 1 to be able to solve that problem. That's one of the reasons we went down this Marvis path. Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I think fundamentally the other thing is you look at the poor IT teams of the future, these networks are getting much more complex than 20 years ago. 20 years ago, everything lived inside their little data center and their firewalls. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, we have everything distributed to the cloud. Zoom, Microsoft, all this stuff is outside of their control. So we're moving to a much more mobile world. If you look where we are with mobility, we're at 60% of everyone in the world is connected to the internet through some wireless mobile link. That by itself has another layer of complexity, and they're going everywhere in the internet. And so that's where AIOps is helping these deal with complexity, right? And that's what AI ML is really designed to do, is help deal with complexity and deal with these more complex networks.
It makes a lot of sense. And sometimes I feel like people get confused the difference between AI and ML and some of these other topics. Can you help me understand the difference between AI and ML and how businesses can use those?
This is a great question, Rick. What I tell people, right? We have been working on automation ever since networking started. AI is this ultimate, taking automation to the ultimate level, right? Ultimately, AI is a concept of building something on par with a human. When I started Mist, I was really inspired by Jeopardy, right? When I saw Watson playing Jeopardy, I was like, if they can build something that can play Jeopardy, we should be able to build something that can answer questions on par with network domain experts, right? Mm-hmm. And so that is AI. And most people confuse AI with ML. AI is doing something on par with a human. And it takes a lot of different algorithms. ML is actually math and algorithms that actually helps us get that implemented. Now that's important because of late in 2014 is when ML really took off. That's when we saw Google and all these neural network stuff. We got to enough computing power and data to actually train these models. So there was an inflection point in 2014 that really saw the birth of AI and ML across all types of industries.
That's amazing. Right on. This is very cool stuff.
By the way, Bob's PhD is in this field, so I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. One other thing that seems to be coming up more and more is like sustainability. And I think we were talking a little bit like, how can we help like a lot of our customers like hit their sustainability goals? I mean, climate is something that's on everybody's mind. Can something like this help with that?
Actually, it can. And let me step back and say, we as Juniper, we have pledged that we're going green, and we'll be 100% carbon neutral by 2025. It's as a company, great goal for us. But let's talk about the impact of AI on sustainability. Not too many in IT think of it this way. So if I can eliminate a truck roll to a site by virtue of having AI to solve a problem, either I've self-remediated it, or we've created the data needed in the cloud so that somebody doesn't have to go. And real example, the Gap eliminated 85% of the truck rolls going to Gap retail stores around the world. 85% truck rolls are down. That's sustainability. AI can have a very real impact in terms of operations and efficiencies we drive, including the green initiative.
That's amazing. Really, really cool. So let me look. I think we've gone through a lot of these, but I mean, one of the things that I keep like struggling with is I hear that like people are still skeptical of AI. Like, why is that?
So let me tell you, I would say, the hardest thing for people to walk away from is if I'm a CLI expert on Cisco, if I've mastered and carefully hand chiseled a network of Aruba, it's hard for me to walk away from that, and that's the challenge. And so there's a lot of skepticism in AI in terms of mostly knowing what they know and the incumbency and the legacy architectures. But if you go into a proof of concept with us, if you see a proof of value, there is no more skepticism. Once you try it once, there is no AI skeptics on the Juniper Mist customer side.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you look at people, it's like, when you drive your Tesla, right? I don't think most people are ready to take their hands off the wheel yet. So gaining that trust inside your virtual AI assistant is a combination of trying to understand what's going on. And that's probably one issue with AI ML, right? Because the math is a little bit more complicated than most networking IT guys are used to, right? They're used to automating things with scripts or something they can logically understand. This is a model where you're basically training it. So there is a level of trust you have to learn to trust it. And that's where we've worked at Marvis, is around this conversational interface, right? How do you make a virtual assistant really a part of your team? So that is a key part that we are working on right now, is making it easy for people to interact with Marvis and actually get them to see that when you actually start using it, it's it's POC, right? Mm-hmm. When you get this thing up and running, when Marvis says there's a bad cable, well, it's like, well, let me see. I don't know if I trust you the first 10 times, but after the 10th time, okay, I'll trust you. So now customers are starting to actually let Marvis issue those support tickets, right? Okay, I trust you that you found a bad cable. I'm not going to ask you anymore.
And this saves an incredible amount of time,
It
resources,
does.
money.
Yeah. I'll give you the biggest skeptic that I've actually worked with most recently is about a 4,000 AP higher education university, a top 10 university in the country. And the IT manager there, a longtime friend, and he said, hey, I built this network, sort of hand chiseled the entire network for high performance. I don't believe that Marvis can actually really just out of the box work in a high density environment, like 300 person auditorium. Previously, people didn't trust AI for that. They used to manually channel plan and hand plan this. But now with Marvis, we see data better than humans can see. It's really that simple. For the first time, he said, Sudheer, I called bullshit on your PowerPoint, right? But I went into the proof of concept, I let the system figure it out, and it came up with a better answer than I could on that network.
Yeah, and I would say, I think you find, people are not so much skeptic about AI. I think everyone realizes that AI, we are going to see a self-driving car in our lifetime, right? Mm-hmm. We are seeing doctors being able to diagnose cancer better with AI. So I don't think anyone is skeptical about AI working. I think it's more skeptical when. When are you going to be in the backseat of your Tesla trusting it to drive.
There was a guy the other day, you told me.
That's what I told you. There's a guy, and the scary thing, it is happening, right? There was a guy in Oakland who got arrested for being in the backseat of his Tesla. So it's not like it's possible. It's like, when is it going to become mainstream?
And if he can do that, we can definitely put it on the network and help businesses improve their lives.
If someone can ride in the back of their Tesla across the Bay Bridge, if someone wants to play Jeopardy, yes, we can build something that can answer questions on part of network domain experts.
The good news, Rick, though, is we've actually proven it now, right? Every single network we're going into has fewer tickets, faster deployments, fast resolution. It's happening now. You don't have to wait with some of our competitors who are saying, oh yeah, I'm building this, it's coming, please wait. No, go into a POC with them right now and see the difference.
Well, listen, Sudheer, thank you so much. Bob, thank you as well. If anybody is still skeptical about AI, I challenge you, let's give these gentlemen a call, get that POC working. Thank you all very much, and see you soon.